This episode may not be suitable for all listeners. Therefore, listener discretion is advised.
That's the funny.
Hello, strange ones.
I'm Lisa.
I'm Faith.
And I'm Sharon.
And this is She Sees Weird People.
Hello. This is the story of Girly Chew Hossecofft.
Girly Chew.
Yes. So today I want to talk about a girl named Girly Chew Hossecofft. She was a 36-year-old woman who vanished from her apartment in Albuquerque, New Mexico on September 9th, 1999. This case was a lot of things for me. Disturbing, sad, and makes you wonder if you really know your significant other as well as you think you do. Girly Chew was originally from Malaysia, a country in Asia. She was born on August 27, 1963, to parents Chu Shing Kin, her father, and Chin Gyok Hwan, her mother. She had two siblings, June Chew, her sister, and her brother Andrew Chew. Girly traveled to America in the early 1990s. During her visit, she went to SeaWorld, where she would meet someone who stole her heart, Diazin Hossencofft.
Diazin. Oh.
So she's from Malaysia and she lives in Albuquerque. What is she doing there?
She's visiting.
Well, yes, she's visiting at the time now. But Diazin Hossencofft was born March 5th, 1965 in Houston, Texas. You see, Diazin was a con man who lied to Girly, stating he was a thoracic doctor. He also faked cancer treatments to his clients. He doctored his transcripts and was expelled from medical school. Shortly after being expelled, he changed his name from Armand Chavez to Diazin Hossencofft.
Oh my god, how do you even come up with a name like that?
I know.
Well, I guess if you can lie about all that other stuff, you can come up with that, but...
It sounds like an anti-anxiety med.
It does.
Take some of that along with my alprazolam and call it good.
I wish these were the worst things he has done, but sadly it isn't. Diazin had a son with a Japanese woman in Canada in 1999, while still married to Girly. He was also engaged to 3 different women, including a woman named Linda Henning.
Was Linda Asian also?
No, she was actually white. She was a white girl.
Yeah, it sounds like he has like a thing, like a type.
I know, and then she came out of left field. But there isn't much information on the other 2 women.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes they don't want to be found. They're like, I'm gonna hide now.
If you, I saw a picture of Girly Chew this afternoon, and oh my gosh, she was the cutest thing.
And she had the brightest smile. Like,
adorable. So big. It's a little tiny, cute human.
Yeah, she was little bitty. In her picture, she's like so small, like kind of like you, Lisa, like just how she's built.
She's just itty bitty, beat bopping around, trying to live her life.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, she is cute. I just googled her picture. She looks so naive and innocent, like just young. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. But shortly after Girly met Diazin, she moved to the United States and got married in 1993. She worked as a bank teller in Albuquerque, and Diazin as a, quote, doctor. In 1999, Girly filed for divorce after a domestic dispute when Diazin threatened to kill her. Girly confided in her coworkers that she was afraid for her life after she found out Diazin was a fake. He wasn't a doctor and was using a fake name.
Was he like doctoring on people? Was he practicing medicine, or was he just like, did he just tell her that and then he would go off during the day and come back? And how did he make his money, or what was he doing?
Well, from one thing that I read, he was actually like treating cancer patients, acting like he was giving them drugs. When really, I don't know what he was giving them, but it wasn't drugs to help them, you know?
Oh, shit.
So he had a whole client base of people he was lying to, which I don't understand how that works either, how you're able to do that.
Well, you know, if I go to a doctor, well, not now because I'm old, but when I was younger, if I would go to a doctor, you know, I just assumed that they were a doctor, and that if they told me something, that it was probably right, and that's what I should do.
Exactly.
I mean, I found out later on, not always true, but
I always have my license, you know, handy, and it's on my wall. But I've never once for therapy had a client ask me for my credentials, like to see them. They've asked me like, "Oh, what do you do, and what's your title?" But nobody ever asked to see your license or your degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I mean, that's not the first thing I think about. I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm going to the doctor, you know?
You're supposed to be able to trust people in that space. And so, yeah, like thinking about it, I've never thought to ask.
No, it probably was very easy for him to get away with all of it.
I think sometimes, like, all you need is confidence and charisma to get away with stuff for a little while at least.
Oh, yeah. Or he, like, lied about being a thoracic surgeon. So that's also, how do you do that? I wonder if he ever practiced doing that.
Yeah, that's what I was just wondering, too. I'm like, that's a big deal surgery.
yeesh.
And she thought she was getting the prize. She's like, ooh, I'm marrying a doctor.
And he's not even
Which he did go to medical school.
Well, I guess he would be able to kind of talk the talk then. I mean, he could convince you.
Yeah, because he knew a little bit. He wasn't just like completely faking it, but he was kicked out of school. But I'll read more about that here in a little bit.
When I Googled Daisian, my phone auto-corrected on it, and instead of Girly Chew Hossecofft, David Hasselhoff popped up. So I'm just looking at this picture of him running on a beach right now.
With this,
There are worse things to pop up than David Hasselhoff.
Well,
oh, yeah.
I mean, it's a very up to now picture. Let's agree to disagree on that one.
Okay, there's a few old dudes that are still hot, okay?
No, that's true. So true.
My mom always had a thing for guys with noses. I don't know. They had a big nose. So like if they had a big nose, she was like, "Oh, he's sexy," and I never understood it. Never ever.
Well, then your nose and your ears never stop growing, so she's like, older men, that's the way to go.
Older
Yeah,
men.
probably.
The older men with their giant honkers, that's exciting and very, very sexy.
People like what they like.
So after Girly moved out and filed for divorce, Diazin met a woman named Linda Henning. Linda Henning was a fashion designer born in Hollywood, California in 1953. When she met Diazin, she was engaged to another man, but left him for him. And shortly after, they were engaged. So he moved fast. He was like, I'm locking her down. It's happening.
He's locking a lot of people down.
He probably is like, I have to lock it down because I'm going to get found out soon.
Which Linda and Diazin both shared in the belief of the teachings of David Icke. I kind of looked him up, but he's an English conspiracy theorist. And he's still around talking, doing seminars and stuff.
Well, they can't all be conspiracy theories.
Tis true. Tis true.
Did you say David Icke? Yep, he looks kind of angry. I'm just saying.
Yeah, not the nicest looking guy.
And they call him iconic.
They call him what?
Oh, he has a news platform called Iconic.
Iconic or iconic?
Eckonic.
So, yeah, iconic.
Like his last name.
Ick. Icky.
Okay. Onward.
Onward, okay. So these theories included that many of our world leaders are bloodthirsty reptilians and Starfire.
Okay, I guess I shouldn't laugh about that because they are snakes, but ish.
I'm laughing because that's a great way to put it.
What the fuck? Okay.
Blood-sucking reptilian creatures.
Okay, alright. I'm sorry I interrupted.
No, I thought about that the first time I read it too. I was like, really?
Okay, alright.
And Starfire, which is believed to be the menstruating blood from a goddess.
Oh,
So that's important information right there.
it's
Starfire.
sanitary.
Well, what else would it be? I mean, sounds perfectly normal to me.
So on September 9th,
Ew.
1996, at just age 36, something terrible would happen to Girly, as she was attacked in her apartment, never to be seen again. Girly's coworkers reported her missing the next day as she did not show up for work, which wasn't like her. Diazan was the prime suspect in the case, but the same day he left to South Carolina. Not suspicious at all.
Yeah.
He had things to do.
His doctoring quotes.
Yeah, doctor things to do across state lines.
just a coincidence, you know.
He's like, I have to go, doctor. Please excuse me.
They then focused their attention to Girly's apartment, and they found evidence of blood using luminol on her floor. So they knew something happened.
Yeah, it's already looking shady from the get-go.
After finding the blood, they interviewed Linda, where she stated she had no knowledge of Girly's whereabouts and that she didn't even know Girly, which was false because Girly had been Linda's teller at least one time at the bank she worked at. She's already looking bad.
This, I don't know. This,
But, like,
okay, is she like,
I wouldn't remember every teller I've ever had. Is it like a teeny tiny town?
What's it, Albuquerque?
Oh, I used to live there. I wouldn't remember a bank teller.
Yeah, but also like going to that bank and then your fiance's ex-wife who's still married to, you know, you kind of would know that.
Is. You'd know
Yeah.
who she is.
It's not a coinky-dink.
Yeah, you absolutely know who she is. And I have so many questions for Linda. Like, so many. I want to know, is she a reptilian too? Or is she like the superhero that fights the reptilians? Who is this chick?
Like, what is his narrative around Linda?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, what does he think of Linda? Is it true?
Honestly, yeah.
Are they Bonnie and Clyding it?
Well, he left her. He said deuces. I'm going to South Carolina.
He said deuces.
Bye-bye.
So you can go down for that. I'm out.
Ouch. Okay.
The investigators searched Linda's home and found a katana that was purchased the morning of Girly's murder. A whole katana.
What the hell?
That's normal.
They're like, we found this here sword that.
Where would you even go to buy one? I mean, what would you what?
I actually know.
A pawn shop.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Why do me and Faith know this? Obviously,
I don't want to know why you know this. I just.
Or you
But
can
the
go to your
katana-
son's house. Josh has a katana.
Of course he does.
Yeah, well, you never know when you're gonna have to murder someone with it. So
I do have this thing that looks like I don't know, like an umbrella holder at the end, and it's a whole knife. It's kind of cool.
Wait, a knife comes out?
Yeah. It's so cool.
You're just mad, like killing people with your umbrella.
I have it by my door. You never know.
Dear criminals, do not buy this.
Who did you see who did it? I swear to God, it was Mary Poppins.
I know.
I just saw Mary Poppins.
I know. What if it's raining though? Like, do you have
And I
to?
go to grab it.
Do I get wet or do I stab this guy?
Yeah, you never know. It's whatever you're feeling. So 3 days later, Girly's clothing, a piece of tape with Girly's saliva and Linda's DNA on it, and a bloody tarp was found. Berlin, New Mexico, only 35 miles away from Albuquerque. So it was all over the highway, just strung out, not a care. 35 miles away from Albuquerque.
That's a lot of evidence.
It was, and to still
how
not have,
weird. I
and
mean,
they still don't have that much information even then with all this stuff.
doesn't that sound like extremely disorganized? I mean, doesn't it sound like, I know that I have listened to a lot of murder, but
Murder.
I would not be throwing my evidence out on the highway. What does that say? I mean, I think that's weird.
Saying catch me.
Maybe.
I think what it's saying is that somebody is thinking erratically or that they just don't care.
Yep.
Somebody that was calm in that moment, either they just don't care, but if they were calm, they would have like taken some care. You know, like you hear about serial killers and how they handle their murders with care, which is a weird word to use, but like meticulous, planned, not a lot of physical evidence.
So it wasn't like it was more like, oh shit, I killed her. I'm just trying to
It's giving no shit.
I honestly think there was, well, it's hard to say if it was planned or not because he had threatened to kill her and he said he was going to, and then just him in court talking about it, like he said she knew she was going to be hunted down. Like,
That's really frightening.
Oh my gosh. I watched it this afternoon, the clip of him on the news talking in court about her killing.
Yeah.
Give me the willies. I'm not kidding.
it
Yeah.
really is.
He gives me the willies in general, like the fact that he's just like so smiley.
Yeah, exactly. His whole smile, it's so, gives you chills.
Yeah.
Diazin and Linda were indicted. Linda was found guilty in October 1999 of perjury. Diazin pleaded guilty to the murder in January of 2002 to avoid the death penalty. He was sentenced to life plus 61 years in the Wyoming penitentiary. So it didn't take them long to get them.
Yeah, so like,
Could you throw your evidence all over the ground?
yeah,
Yep.
so like the crime scene and stuff was like spread out all over the place.
And also, like, the katana, because Linda and him lived together in the apartment, so the katana that they found, it was linked in the murder. That's what they're saying. And they were both living there, so they had to get them both, so that already implemented him.
Yeah, and when I was reading about it earlier, like it was incredibly easy because when they went to Girly's apartment, they could smell the bleach and they found a ton of blood using luminol, so like it was like half-ass.
Yeah.
And cat hair.
Kitty cat hair?
Yes. And who owns cats, y'all?
Weirdos.
Well, not just
Witches. A cat person.
I'm just saying Linda was a cat person.
Linda sounds like a cat person. Like, of course you had a cat, Linda.
Designing one of her dresses, she was all petting the cat.
Thinking up her evil plans, just petting her hairless cat.
Because all the hair's over at Girly Chew's apartment.
Yeah. And well, villains have hairless cats in my head for some. It's like Dr. Evil. That's what I think that's what
Dr. Evil's hairless cat. Yeah.
Come along, Minnie.
I picked that up in the documentary that they had found cat hair, and Girly didn't have any cats.
No, Girly was cool. She wouldn't have cats.
Wow. So I'm not cool? I got a cat?
I didn't know that you owned a cat. I thought you were more of a
Lisa,
dog.
you should check your facts before you start talking trash, all right?
Oh my gosh. You invite my husband on this podcast.
I'm both. I like cats and dogs.
Yeah, I'm more of a dog lady.
I was too, but I need this little mice catcher.
Actually, that's true. I had a cat named Sushi a couple years ago, and I never had mice or bugs in my house at all. So I'll give him that.
Little hunters.
They're like house goats.
House goats. Linda's murder trial began in September 2002. She was one of the first women in New Mexico to face capital punishment. During her trial, Diazin was called to testify on behalf of Linda, where he claimed he masterminded the murder and that Linda was innocent, and that a man named Bill Miller, so we got a third party, was the muscle behind the murder. So we're bringing in another person.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who is this dude?
And I don't know how he was associated with them. I tried to look him, but there's not very much information on him. Just that he was trying to fight the charges that he got.
Yeah.
So, because Bill Miller, he was charged with 5 counts of tampering with evidence, but only spent 7 weeks in jail, as he got time served.
It's a long bid.
He then filed a suit against 3 of the investigators, claiming he was the victim of their malicious prosecution. He fought and he tried to sue 2 of the lawyers and 1 detective, that saying that he was wrongly convicted and he didn't do any of this, and they were just trying to get him because of what Diazin said.
Yeah.
And he was in jail for 7 weeks?
Yeah, that's it.
Listen.
Yeah, that's why I was being sarcastic when I said that's a long bid. Like, that's nothing.
Yeah.
On October 25th, 2002, Linda was found guilty of first-degree murder, kidnapping, and tampering with evidence, and 4 counts of perjury. She faced the death penalty.
Okay. And will you remind me what year this is?
This is in 2002.
Okay.
And so this... Okay, I'm going to try to confirm my recap here. Diazin Hossencofft. If you wanted to stand out, that's what you would name yourself. And his girlfriend, Linda Henning, were part of a organization or something.
Like a conspiracy?
Some kind of conspiracy that involved reptiles and the menstrual blood of reptilian queens or something. And so who was Girly Chew in this thing? Why were they after her? Do you think that the conspiracy theories that they had this weird belief system? Because I mean, she was a little wacky.
Yeah, she does, because you don't just go along with things like this.
Well, and okay, so that's why I was like, it's weird because he has a type, because he dated those 2 girls, and maybe it was just a coincidence that they were Asian, but then all of a sudden he gets with this white lady, and I'm like, well, it's just a little bit different, I guess. And then you find out that she's like down to murder, and I'm like, oh, that's what he saw in her.
Well,
Like, "Ooh, she's down with it. Let's do it."
well, what he said, what was it he said, Faith, on the, he said, like, she was hunted down like the dog she was, and she knew she was going to die or something like that.
And yes, she ran like a scared rabbit in an open field. She knew.
Oof.
It's one of the most terrified, twisted things. Like, I've heard other stories where people actually do hunt their victims, and it's like, I can't imagine how fucking frightening that is. Like, I feel like I would just have a heart attack before I even would be able to get away, because it's so cruel. It's like almost like you have a chance but you don't.
Well, and if they had a third person, so there's 3 people walking into her apartment. She's not from here, you know. She's getting around, like, it'd be terrifying.
Luckily, though, I mean, she was so well liked at her job and things like that that they immediately knew something was wrong.
Yeah, 'cause she showed up every day on time. She was never late or missed. If she, you know.
Yeah, and that whole thing is really weird that he thought he was part alien. And I was reading some of what he had told, like, her name is Julie McGuire, a lady that he was dating, and he told her that he had a serum that you inject, and it changes your skin back to the way when you were younger, and he told her that he was over 100 years old. And she's just like a woman that he was shortly romantically involved with. I'd be like, get out of here, Grandpa.
Because they believed in UFOs and cannibalism.
They believed in a lot of things. It almost sounds like they just believed in whatever would suit them at the time.
Honestly. On April 18th, 2003, prosecutor Paul Spiders wrote that Linda had made a statement to him that she had actually consumed the flesh of Girly Chew.
No.
And that as a consequence, her body would never be recovered by authorities.
That's awful.
See, there has to be way more to this. That they had to think she was some kind of. There has to be a reason. I mean, either she was a sacrifice, or she was a threat in some way to their weird ass.
I thought Hossencofft and Chew had a kid.
No, he had it with another girl.
But he brought the child home, and she took care of it like it was her own.
Okay, so
Not yet.
do you think it had anything to do with that?
No, because on this it says he was adopted in 1999 to an Alaskan family.
Well, so obviously she didn't take him. If that's the case, she didn't take him with her when she left.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that if it was, because you know how you are about babies. If they're not safe, you're like that. All you want to do is keep them close. You know what I mean? Unless you can't.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I thought maybe it had something to do with that. Maybe she didn't want that to happen, and maybe his reptilian god told him. I don't know.
Or maybe
Sacrifice her.
maybe she found out who he really was.
Well, Girly, she did. That's why she left. She found out that he was faking being a doctor and using a fake name. And that's part of the reason why she left. And when she found out this, that's when he attacked her and threatened to kill her. And she was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
She wasn't out far enough.
Yeah.
And
She
that's,
tried to
but
escape.
you know when you have domestic stuff going on, the moment of leaving is always the most dangerous time.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Very accurate.
that's when it's the least. But it sounds to me like this is way more than just a domestic thing. I mean, you got a weird,
Yes.
the weird cannibal lady. I just can't get over she.
Well, you've got like 2 options here, and both are probably true, maybe for each person, like one or the other, but one of them, like, it sounds like somebody had delusions and somebody else was like leaned into that, because you don't like think you're reptilian and eat humans without some kind of delusional thinking, you know what I mean? So I'm like, one of them's a killer and one of them's batshit, and together they are evil.
They are batshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That is, oh my gosh. I mean, but you'll never find her body because we ate her?
They just know so nonchalantly. Like, yeah.
She just got life in prison. She didn't get the death penalty.
Well,
no.
Sorry, Faith.
They were charging her with it. But despite this, in 2003, she was only sentenced to 73 years in prison.
Oh, I hope that bitch dies there. I'm sorry, but that's scary. If you're out she was a tiny little girl, you know? Pick on somebody your own size, Big Linda.
Big Linda. Well, yeah, and I'm not... They abolished the death penalty in New Mexico in 2009, and no woman has even been executed here in New Mexico ever, except for... I was reading that, like, in the 1800s, this lady was executed for killing her ex-lover. But yeah, it's not something that goes on here.
Yeah, because she was one of the first people first women to face the death penalty here in New Mexico, and that's still in 2003. So
yeah, and I'm still not surprised it didn't happen, because this ain't Texas.
Yeah. Yeah, if you kill somebody in Texas, they'll kill you back. So
they ain't about it.
My least favorite song. Sorry.
What?
It's not for me.
You don't got a little country in you?
I don't know about it either, Faith. I mean,
I'm more of an emo than a country lady.
I love Beyonce. Love her. But I felt like she was making fun of all of us.
I can do it.
She was like, all right, white people.
Look at these honkies.
I'm coming for you and your weird ass New Mexico, Texas weird shit. That's what I'm doing. I'm coming for you.
Bunch of stone cold honkies.
And you can't fight her. And you want to know why?
Because she's a queen.
Because she's Beyonce. That's right. What are you gonna say?
You don't say. You bow.
You throw your.
We gotta go park our Lexus. Yeah, park your Lexus.
I've never seen a cowboy drive a Lexus.
See what I'm
She's
saying?
talking about the city girls.
She's totally making fun of us.
She's like, put your Lexus down and get into your F-150.
Go ride them dirt roads.
Yeah.
My question is, do we really believe that they ate her? Or is her body just not been found and they won't tell us where it is?
I mean, what do we know more in depth about these people? Like, about where Linda and Big D, just kidding,
Well,
where they came from.
The big
she grew up in
Hossencofft.
Hollywood. And the big D.
Okay.
So yeah, Linda was born in Hollywood, California. So she grew up in a big old place. And Dazen was from Houston, Texas.
Okay. And so did they have, like, good childhoods, or were they, like, did they have, like, mental health history, or is that not information that's out there? Because I feel like I need a history to, like, make an informed choice on whether or not they were eating other people.
Well, you are also a trained professional at this, but as just a layperson, I think they did, because they're weird as shit. Both of them. They're like circus clown weird. There's a girl running around thinking she is the queen, of everything, and he's like overjoyed because he's part alien and he's over 100 years old, and he's just happy he can still get up.
Yeah, his smile is wild. But I want to make it clear that I've never submitted a form to insurance letting them know whether or not someone else is, a cannibal or not.
Well, since the insurance isn't here, what's your gut say?
I don't know enough about him. Like, what were his parents like? Were they good to him? Like, what were his... I need more.
Well, I'm sorry. If you're lying, you're stealing, and if you're stealing, you're lying. And this guy didn't have he's not even using his real name. He's just someone else. Today I'll be someone else because I screwed up the other guy's life, so now I'm going to be someone else.
No, he sounds delusional. I just don't... who knows? Like, it's so weird to think about cannibalism because most people, like, would gag at even the idea of it. Like, like those stories where there's been, like, plane crashes in the mountains and they've had to do things like that, and some people just die of starvation because they literally can't stomach it. Like that plane that crashed in the Andes.
Well, Dahmer did it so that his victims could never leave him. That was his thought process. I can't think of in the society that we have, I can't think of any reason that people would cannibalize someone else unless there was some kind of freaky ass reason to do it.
Yeah.
What do you think, Faith?
They met at a seminar that was led by David Icke. So that's how he and Linda met, was at the conspiracy theorist seminars.
Okay, so you have people that are already kind of on the fringes of society finding each other. And think about hardcore conspiracy theorists. They think the government, that they're literally reptilian. You know what I mean? Like, not all of them, but that's a conspiracy theory.
The ones that I don't agree with.
How weird is that? Are you fighting against them? Are you fighting against the reptilians, or are you part reptilian? What kind of alien are you if you're part alien?
Yeah, and something else that's weird about it is David Icke is he's a mathematics and computer science professor, and so he's like a science-based bro. And so that seems... I just don't think, Linda and Big D's choices were science-based.
It's the starfire, which is the menstruating blood from a goddess. They believed in that too, and so they thought that was part of the reason that they ate her body, or that they drank her blood, and that's why they add that part in there.
Oh man, my stomach's turning.
Yeah, it is.
What do you do? Do you just it's just you put it on the smoker? What do you do? Well, I don't understand. I'm a little shook up.
Well, I think Starfire was originally, from what I understand by Googling, it's the menstrual blood of the goddess, but it's first used in a series of ancient Sumerian tablets, and they called it the blood of moon elixir that flows from the great queen or goddess of an extraterrestrial race known as the Anunnaki. And
we're back to the Anunnaki, huh?
Yeah, so they said that the starfire, so the moon elixir / menstrual blood, they thought that it opened the pineal and pituitary glands and granted them clear insight and some wisdom. So it was a ritual for those ancient Sumerians, and they took it and pretended it was their own.
Sumerians are fascinating.
I'll have to look more into those.
I know, right? Like, there's like stories within stories within stories.
I'm kind of I love Ancient Aliens. Love it.
She does.
I do.
She's
I love
got
her.
that, guys.
And they speak about the Anunnaki often there.
What's funny is she has a decal of that bro's face on the back of her van and like his hair and everything, and I'm like, oh my god.
Giorgio Sucralose. It's on the back of my van. His face. And it says underneath it, could it be?
She's all right.
Yeah.
Well, it says that her body was never found to this day, and Diazin and Linda are still in jail serving their sentences. Diazin said at his trial, this is the full quote, "She knew she was going to be hunted like the dog she was, and yes, she ran like a scared rabbit in an open field. She knew."
Shit.
And this story really made my skin crawl, and that Girly did nothing to deserve the horrible things that were done to her. She did everything right. She tried to leave an abusive relationship and start a new life. There isn't much information about Girly's family, but I couldn't even imagine how awful it must be to not get the chance to put your loved one to rest.
Yeah. Oh, that's awful.
Because not only you know they're dead, but you can't even just get that closure that you need.
Yeah, and I keep looking at pictures of Diazin or whatever his freaking name is, and
The big D.
the but like in a totally different way. Like, what a dick. Because in every picture he has this huge ass smile on his face, and I just want to punch his teeth out.
He asked to get his plea and life sentence thrown out, claimed he wasn't treated fairly, even after saying all that in court, and admitting in Linda's courtroom that he was the mastermind and she was innocent.
I'm wondering, like, it keeps going through my head, did Girly like fall for any of his weird stuff? Like, was she at all convinced of anything that he said, like about aliens? Because he thought she was the alien queen before he pulled the switch up on her.
Yeah, which I don't know, because that's hard to say, because if she's already leaving after finding out all his faults, you know?
I know. It's like, did she ever talk to anyone about it?
Well, I think she was the only sane one in this whole triage of this trio or foursome or however many people there was involved in this. She was the only one who was like, okay, crazy people, see ya.
I'm gonna head out. Yeah, I'm gonna head out.
Yeah. So they're both still in prison now? They're alive?
Yes, they're both still alive.
That's what it says.
Oh yeah, that's so fair.
Did they eat her? Did they not?
They ate her.
Why was her body never found?
Because they ate her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any idea what I think on that, but I think...
Why would you even say something like that? I mean,
Well,
if you're trying to get out of your... you're trying to prove your innocence, you don't go around telling people you cannibalized somebody. You do that if you're crazy.
Yeah.
you also do it if you want attention. And that big of smile on his face and his like delusions, I'm wondering how much attention he wanted. I don't know, but that's also something that like terrifying psychopaths say to freak other people out. But they never found her body.
And even with all that blood everywhere, just the tarp, which I was wondering why they went to Berlin and did all that. Berlin. Berlin!
I don't know, and this is kind of, this is gross, but like, I wonder if they looked for like blood and that kind of thing, like on dishes or like other, what, because there's only a katana, like did you use the katana for every part of that? It sounds hard. You know, you have to like dismantle essentially a body. You're doing it with your skinny little sword.
Not that I know from personal experience, but I do know from studying that it is really difficult to dismantle a body if you don't know what you're doing. And
Yeah, because of like where the tissue connects and like bones.
and yeah. I mean,
Which
just even
Diazin
imagine.
was in medical school, so he had a little bit of knowledge.
That's
okay.
That's true.
That's a really good point. But if he was in medical school, he's all training with his katana, like teaching his interns.
Alright, so you swing like this.
Oh my god.
My word. Well, I promise you, if somebody invites me to their house and I look up and there's a katana on the wall, I don't care if it is one of my own children, I'm leaving. I'll just stay outside. I'll be like, it's the katana. Sorry.
It's giving me flashbacks.
PTSD.
Sorry, can't do it.
Katana trauma.
Not katana drama.
Yeah. It's just one of my things.
Yeah. That's a curious thing. I wonder if those deeds are anywhere.
Yeah, you would think they would, but maybe it was too late by the time she admitted that, because it had already been a few years that she was in prison.
Like super low chances of finding anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially if you like soak the whole knife in bleach or something, nobody's finding anything.
Or the whole katana.
It was in her attic too, the katana. They found it hiding up there, so they're like even more suspicious.
If you're gonna throw out the actual blood and clothing and then put the katana, none of that makes sense to me. This is not the work of one dastardly person. This is the work of a group or two or three. I mean, I'm telling you.
No, and he purchased the katana the same morning that she is believed to have disappeared, you know?
Yeah, that sounds, if you were going to use a katana, that sounds like some kind of ritual to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're thinking ritualistic murder.
That's what I think.
Including cannibalism, which is
Cannibalism and the reptile theory.
And the starfire.
alien love.
Yeah, because they did believe in UFOs too.
Really, really old alien love.
I believe in UFOs.
He was an old dude, okay?
Yeah. I'm 100 years old and I'm an alien. I'd be like, okay, old man, I'm gonna
head out.
complete grocery shopping. I hope someone helps you find your soup.
So this was the story of Girly Chew Hossecofft. I hope y'all enjoyed it. It was a good story for me. It was really interesting. And there was just a lot of unanswered questions that I still have for this case.
That's the funny.
I'm Lisa.
I'm Faith.
And I'm Sharon.
Join us next time on She Sees Weird People. Thank you so much for listening. If you have a weird story to tell or case idea, contact us at weirdpeople@sheseesweirdpeople.com. Be sure to hit that subscribe button wherever you get your podcasts. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at She Sees Weird People Podcast. This podcast was written, hosted, and produced by Sharon Metcalf, Faith Dunovit, and Lisa Metcalf. Produced by Sedona Brave Studios. Music by Purple Planet Music. Sound effects by Pond 5. And Baleen. Oh, why did I do that?
Why are you being anal about this?
Because.
Your balloons are so anal.
And Baleen. Balin.
You got to practice it. You got to say it a few times.
Balloon, balloon, balloon.
Balin.
There
Okay.
you go. You got